I would like to find a way that I could link my videos, from like Facebook Live to YouTube. But today, we're going to discuss, first, we're going to mention that in the book of James, in chapter 1, verse 26, he says, "If any man among you seemeth to be religious and bridleth not his tongue, this man's religion is vain." And so, James did not say, "If any man among you seemeth to be a Christian and bridleth not his tongue." He just said religious. And that's important, those choice of words. So you read the book of Acts, chapter 13, and it mentions in verse 1, that there were many teachers there, and it names 1 and 2, and then it says who were called Niger. All of them was called Niger because that word goes back to the Indus Valley. That word goes back to the Indus Valley, which is near the Himalaya. And like I said before, all these things started in the East. So this is why the apostles, who were called teachers, was called Niger, nigger, whatever the hell how you want to pronounce it. But this is where the word comes from. See, then when you are ignorant of the word, somebody can take the word and put a negative connotation on it, and now, when you hear the word, all you hear is a negative word. And in fact, when you say the word, you say it with the negative content. But that's not the etymology. The etymology was not negative. No, the etymology actually had to do with the same, what looks like a serpent, the king cobra, on the hats in Kemet. And the dragons you see made out of stone in Mexico. And all the symbolism you see that looks like serpents, look like dragons. That's what the Niger goes back to. As a matter of fact, on the Emancipation Proclamation, don't mean for that to rhyme, as you go around it, because it's mostly pictures on it, it's probably almost as many pictures as words. On the upper left-hand corner, as you're looking at it, there's a serpent. The serpent, not only is there a serpent, it's not the important part, it's a devil. The devil is there. The devil has chains in his hands, and the chains is connected to the body of the serpent. The devil is holding the serpent, and then, or what looks like a serpent. And then you would say, that's funny. Why is the devil holding the serpent? Well, that means that these people know who you are. Because they did not, you would not have what looks like serpents in Mexico, what looks like serpents on the head of the people in Kemet, and the devil holding a serpent on the Emancipation Proclamation. You know what I'm saying? You would not have that. Started in the East. You could go ahead and cut up that verse, Acts chapter 13, verse 1, and put the word Niger in its right place. I go through that book and I cross things out and put it into its right place. I see the lies told on mistake, on purpose. And so that's where we're going to start in the East, with Gautama Buddha, who was the first Buddha. A Buddha is an enlightened one. These fat images of Buddha is not a Buddha. A Buddha haven't had fast 3 times a week. I'm pretty sure it'd be hard to look that ridiculous. Not that there's anything wrong, it's just that the image is that of mockery. It's not of truth. It's not like they're trying to research and find out, was he fat, was he thin, was he tall? Nah, it's mockery. If you know the history. but or as much as you could know. But Gautama Buddha is the first Buddha. But the Buddha's right of that which is called what they call the cosmic Buddha or celestial Buddha. And they said he has one on his right hand, one on his left. Says he is the Prince of Peace, King of Righteousness, that every being on him in the future should meditate on him. I mean, this is what it says, what they call the cosmic Buddha, because of what the title Buddha means. Is not really a religion, you know. The Hinduism, which was initially there, the Hinduism is not a religion. It does not dictate to you what is piety. It just tells you things, you know. It's an era of where people knew things, you know, and the things that they knew, well, it was like magic, you know, because the era tells you how to walk on the wind and listen to people conversations even though you're not there, you know. And a lot of things is recorded that people did in that era. I mean, you could question whether they did it or not, you know, but it's still recorded of what people did in that era. And so I had to start there. It's a follower from my YouTube videos. I mean, Facebook. So now I'm going to cover chariots a little bit, because some of us concerned with chariots. You know, you can read books like any book dealing with the redemption of Israel. Mainly, you're going to see the word chariots mentioned, and you're going to see the word chariot, you know, mentioned really throughout the book. And so I'm just going to show you what that word means, you know. So in the 2 Kings chapter 2, verse 11 to 12, it states that Elisha seen Elijah in the flaming chariots, and then he said to him, my father, the chariot of Israel and the horsemen thereof. And then you have again in 2 Kings chapter 13, from verse 14, where it says that Elisha had fell sick of a sickness whereof he died, and the king Osha, Oaz, Joaz, how you want to pronounce it, he came to see him, and he said the same thing to him. He said, oh father, the chariot of Israel and horsemen thereof. So you can clearly see like a chariot is a leader. And so therefore, when the book sees people coming, it's always going to mention their chariots, because your chariot is your leader. See, there's a proverb that states, there's a lot of proverbs, but one or two I'll mention, which states, there is that scatter it and you increase it, and there is that withhold it more than its meat, but it's into poverty. And another one, there is that maketh himself rich, yet has nothing. And there is that which maketh himself poor, yet has great riches. In the literal sense, it's not possible. The second one, if you think about it, it's not possible. So, that we might understand. I would also like to mention the writing of the historians, how you would have one like Theodorus Siculus that could say the Ethiopian language that the Egyptians call hieroglyphics. If a historian said this 1,500 years of BC, not 1,500 years ago, 1,500 BC, how come no one ever stressed it? How come no one ever said, well, actually, the language was not an Egyptian language, it was from the Ethiopians? Because they don't want you to get into the Ethiopians. They want you to have these curly-headed people as Ethiopians, and, you know, these softer phenotypes as Ethiopians, as not Ethiopians. All of us would have to be, because all of us have black heads. But that's what the name means, beginning with the A. Those are things I wanted to cover today. It's time.